Call to order the regular meeting of the Batavia City Council for Monday, January 5th, 2015. Would you all please rise for a brief invocation, to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, as we commence the year 2015, we just ask for a year of prosperity and safety and understanding in the community of Batavia as the community moves forward in its various endeavors. We're ever mindful that we are blessed in this community with a very thought-provoking and dedicated community, and that the volunteer spirit and the giving of this community is legendary, as was highly portrayed by the Christmas season and all the kindnesses that were showered upon those in our community by that particular season, by the many residents of our community who stepped forward for no recognition or no publicity, but just wanted to act in the name of goodness and mercy and do the right thing and support others. Tonight also, we want to remember those from our community who are serving on foreign soils in defense of the liberties of the United States of America. And we just ask that a blessing be showered upon them and all those with them who are so on a daily basis ably serving us in protecting the virtues and the values of the American way of life. Tonight, we ask for guidance to the City Council, and with the idea that each and every one of us is here tonight to do what in our own minds is in the very best interest of our community. We ask for all these blessings. Amen. Alderman Brown, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown.
Here.
Clark. Here. Atack.
Here.
Stark. Here. Jansit. Here. Wolf.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
O'Brien.
Here.
Callahan.
Here.
Homan.
Here.
Sam.
Here.
Basilian.
Here.
Cerrone.
Here.
McFadden.
Here. Okay, let the record reflect that all 14 elected members of the City Council are present and accounted for this evening's meeting, so we have obviously the necessary quorum to conduct business, as we do have a full house of members here, so good to see everybody. Moving then to item number 4, items to be removed, added, or changed on tonight's agenda. Alderman Stark, do you have anything this evening?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. We are going to remove number 17, the executive session.
Okay. Anybody else in the council have anything else? I'll make a motion then for the...
I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Second. Moved by Alderman Stark, second by Alderman Atack, or for the approval of the agenda as amended and changed. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Stark.
Aye.
Jansit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Homan.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Basilian.
Aye.
Cerrone. McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Clark. Atack.
Aye.
Motion for the approval of the agenda is approved. 14 yes, no no's, none absent. Moving then to item number 5, which is presentation of tonight's consent agenda. Alderman Stark, do you have this, please?
I do. The following items are on the consent agenda. The following approvals: the December 19th, 2014 payroll amount of $720,270.68. The accounts payable check register in the amount of $3,664,027.39, and the City Council minutes for December 1st, 2014. I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Stark, second by Alderman Vasilian, for the approval of the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Stark.
Aye.
Jansit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Homan. Sam.
Aye.
Basilian.
Aye.
Cerrone.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Clark. Atack.
Aye.
Approvals the consent agenda is approved by a vote of 14 yes, no no's, none absent. Moving then to item number 6 on our agenda, matters from the public for items not on the agenda. Do we have anybody in the audience this evening that wishes to address us? Okay, moving then to item number 7, which is a presentation tonight by the Batavia Chamber of Commerce. Holly?
Hello, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak with you this evening. I just have a couple of small items, and then I'd like to introduce the gentleman that was walking around with me this evening. We have coming up in January, on January 30th, we have our Inspire event, which is the premier event of the Batavia Chamber. The first item of business that evening is to celebrate our Citizen of the Year, which was recently announced, Mr. J. Thomas, or Tom Von Lunen. He's been very active with both the Batavia Public Library and the Batavia Rotary Club, so I've been fortunate to work with him on both of those ventures and have enjoyed every minute of it, and so we should be all proud of the 2014 Batavia Citizen of the Year, Mr. Tom Von Lunen. Secondly, we also, at that event, we celebrate those businesses that have contributed greatly to the success of our community through their business, whether that be through an expansion or a rebuild of their interior, exterior of their current facilities. So we'll be recognizing those businesses as well. So we encourage all of you and our residents to attend our Citizen of the Year and recognition for the Ole Award winners for business at our 2015 Inspire event will be held on January 30th at the Homestead here in Batavia. Next, we are just announced our educational seminar series for 2015, which will begin in February. We have some great topics for members and prospective members or business owners within Batavia. If you're looking to learn more about some of the nuances of owning a business, some of them are whether it be from marketing to strategic planning, please look on the Chamber website for the topics that we have rolling out in 2015. So very economical way to get some great education on how to run a business, and it's offered through the Batavia Chamber. So we would love to have you join us for those events as well. Next, and most importantly, I'm here to announce and welcome a new member to the Batavia Chamber of Commerce. It's Crosstown Pub and Grill. They'll be coming in very soon. I'm sure they'll have a great announcement for you this evening, but I hope that Alan has a lot to say to them, as their theme is very the crosstown rivalry between Batavia and Geneva. So we have a resident expert here on that rivalry, so hopefully we can give them a couple of words of insight and maybe even some memorabilia to put up in the new restaurant. So please welcome Mr. Eric Lyons.
Thank you very much, Holly, for the warm welcome. I want to introduce myself. My name is Eric Lyon. I'll be the general manager for Crosstown Pub and Grill in Batavia. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of Jim Nichols, chef and owner of Crosstown Pub and Grill, Batavia, and along with his other location in Naperville. He's been there for approximately 7 years, and he's been very successful, been driven on community and farm-to-fresh tables with craft food selections and craft beer selections as well. Pretty much most of our, as Holly was saying, we built upon the rivalry in Naperville between Naperville North and Naperville Central. The owner lives very local, and he felt there was need of a place where you can get craft food and craft beer selections, and that's kind of why he chose the location where we're at 1890 Mill Street here in Batavia off of Randall Road next to the movie theater. You just saw with that 7-mile stretch in Randall between North Aurora, Batavia, St. Charles, Geneva, Elgin, South Elgin, the need of something where he can go and get good food. We're expected to employ about 50 employees here locally, and we also have been very reluctant and very supportive of hiring local contractors. We've been using Aubrey signs, mirror image, windmill countertops, the Menards, and about $200,000 of our remodeling budget has stayed in Batavia. We felt that was very important. We look at doing $5 to $6 million annually. That's similar to what we're doing in Naperville, on a third of the size of the Batavia location. And we are looking at doing a soft open January 22nd with a grand opening the following weekend for Super Bowl weekend. Pretty much about all I have for you. And then tonight I also did pass around Jim's budget plan, where it goes more in depth of how he grew the company and how he plans to grow the company more here in Batavia. He's been featured on various TV shows with the Food Network and the Food Channel. And a lot of that you can also check out on our website, xtownpub.com, where it has links to those TV shows that he did appear on. But we are nationally known and recognized for our wings. A lot of the wings that we do, well, our wings, we work with a farmer in Michigan, where we get free-range, hormone-free, organic-free chickens that are delivered fresh. And that's quality and taste you'll soon be experiencing when you come visit us, with all the different combinations. Same thing with the rest of our ingredients. A lot of it is locally sourced, fresh vegetables and cheeses, as much as we can. There's some stuff that it would be difficult to get here locally, especially right now, this winter. We also do have a patio that will be opening in the springtime when it does get a little bit warmer. And we'll be featuring, I think, 22 big screen TVs throughout. We are working with Comcast so we can air the local high school games as well.
So you want to tell us your hours of, what you intend to be your hours of operation? Let's start there.
Oh, yes. We plan on opening up 11 a.m. every day, 1 a.m. on Sunday through Thursday, and 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturday evenings. We will have 2 bars inside, a wine and whiskey bar with some finer wines and scotches, bourbons, and whiskeys. And then another one with 40 draft beers.
We have in Batavia a number of our constituents who work for the city of Naperville, specifically in the fire and police departments. So we have a lot of folks here in town who've already visited you in your former location, and most of them rave about the quality of your food. And you have some specialties, do you not? Like, is it chicken wings and hamburgers?
Yes, the chicken wings have been rated #1 by NBC Chicago. We've been nominated for, been a runner-up and contender for Best Burger in Chicago as well, through, I think it was an Amstel Chicago Best Burger competition as well. But being next to the movie theater, we plan on also adding more small plates for people, snack before or after the movie theater as well. And we plan on having one side of the dining room having low seating and the other side having high seating for more of the bar crowd.
When this business was, I'll call it cogitating about moving in here, a group of you came in and met with the staff, my staff and myself, and talked about what you were all about and what kind of your ideas were. And I was intrigued by the idea that you had done your homework and you had found out that the way that the 1849 school district lines were drawn in Kane County, you were within a few hundred feet of the Geneva School District boundary line, and so you were virtually almost right on the Batavia-Geneva School District boundary line. I believe the Walmart store is in the Geneva School District over there. It's in the city of Batavia, but it's in the Geneva School District, and part of the Brayburn Marsh, I believe, is also in the Geneva School District. So you're real close by the Geneva School District. So you told us that one of the things you were looking to do was to kind of develop this crosstown rivalry between the Bulldogs and the Vikings, similar to what you had done in Naperville with the 2 high schools, and similar what your initial, when you first were conceived over there, it was going to be the takeoff on the crosstown of the Cubs and the White Sox. Am I correct in all this?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I'm just curious, as you've refined this whole idea and policy, can you give us any ideas of what you're going to do to heighten up this Bulldog Viking thing? Because I can tell you right now that that's going to be a high point of great interest in this town as to what you're going to do to, are we going to have the Geneva people in one room and the Batavia people in the other? Or one side of the restaurant is, the north side's Geneva, the south side's Batavia? How are you going to do this?
You know, a lot of that, we are working with the local booster clubs as well, with the athletic departments. But, you know, you could still have a Sox fan and a Cubs fan sit at the bar or in the restaurant together. And it just makes for a more fun rivalry and to watch the game together. And that's why having plenty of TVs helps out with being able to watch games simultaneously. And with a lot of that being involved with the school, is, you know, being a public house, where before, when we first had opened, it was more of a bar, being, you know, 80% alcohol sales and 20% food, where chef and owner Jim has really expanded his menu, and we do 80% food sales now, and being known for our food, with also 20% of our sales going to the liquor, beer, and wine. And it really expanded that catering menu, and really getting out there with those different booster clubs to work side by side with them and help them out.
Well, as I told you, I believe in that day when you guys came by, that I thought that probably on nights of, specifically high school football and basketball games, you probably could be really rocking out there if you do this the right way, with bringing in the fan bases from both of those schools, because there's a huge base out there. And, you know, Mill Creek subdivision, which is thousands of people right to the west of you, their subdivisions divided literally between the Batavia and Geneva school districts, although I think there's many more Geneva houses than there are Batavia houses, but there's still that's out there. So, I mean, there's going to be plenty of people in there who want to come in and converse and talk it up. So I'm sure you're on an interesting niche here as you develop this road of rivalry in the region here. So
It's
we
really
have it here on the council, we have the voice of the Batavia Bulldogs and Alderman Wolf. And so he'll be kind of like the Harry Carey of your place here.
I've already got a few things I've got ideas about.
And my wife was a Batavia Bulldog as well. She grew up here, and I grew up in Naperville myself, and working in Naperville. It's great to see on game day, you know, parents coming in beforehand and enjoying dinner before they go to the game. Then afterwards, they bring all their kids as well. It's just a continued tradition for them. We'd like to continue the same tradition here.
Anybody in the council have any questions of Crosstown? So, again, the date you're going to, soft opening is what?
January 22nd.
For lunch or dinner, or?
For normal operating hours from 11 a.m. to, that will be a Thursday, till 1 a.m. And then the following day, Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. And I believe we're doing the grand opening Super Bowl weekend.
And that's going to be physically on Super Bowl Sunday, as we're going to do that, or?
I believe so.
Which is what, the 1st of February?
Correct, projected. Everything else is coming right along, so we're a little ahead of schedule, and we like to keep it that way.
Okay. Well, we welcome you to Batavia, and we wish you many years of business growth and success, and thank you for choosing our town, and hopefully we'll have an interesting rivalry and partnership, and Batavia will enjoy getting all those Geneva sales tax dollars.
We look forward to benefiting from that as well. And many years of working with everybody here in Batavia. Thank you very much for your warm welcome this evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, now for some more good news, we'll go to item number 8, which is going to be a presentation on the 2014 Batavia Access Toy Drive by Mr. Bailey. And Mr. Dubus.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council, and I guess I want to first of all apologize for the last time I was in in this meeting were my actions. I was stressed out. I didn't know really if we were going to be able to take care of the children here at Batavia. I was at that point Monday night when I said to myself and to Rudy, we got enough toys for about half of the children here at Batavia. I go, how are we going to meet those families on Sunday to let them know that they can take a few of these things and a few of those things to have Christmas for their children? Walked out of here and then I visited with my wife in Maryland who was washing toys. And he said, what's the outlook look like? I go, not good. Ladies and gentlemen of Batavia Council, I'm going to get back up here in a few minutes and tell you how Batavia people came together to make another successful Christmas here in Batavia. But before I do that, I'd like two people to stand up out here in the audience. Marilyn Lewis, my wife, they will stand up. These are the two people who really do everything here for us. They put this whole program together. My daughter, Brittany, and my son, Steve, son-in-law, AJ, and my daughter, Elizabeth, and a few other folks out there that really got behind us. I can tell you that these people worked about 700 hours in 4 weeks to put this program together. I mean, I probably put a couple hours in, but they do it all. I mean, the organization that goes into planning and making sure that 600 children here in Batavia had a Merry Christmas. The chief of police stopped in that day. He says, how do you do this? Start me from the basement and tell me how this all comes together. I think kind of impressed, how everything came together. And there were several aldermen there that visited with us and helped us. Not only did they stay and watch what was going on, but we put name tags on it. And it says, guess what? Now you get to work with this also. I think it was an enlightening day. So I don't want to take up all the time here, but I want Rudy to just give thanks to some of the people, and I'd like to come back and tell you a little bit about the program.
Thanks, Roy. We have a lot of people to thank this year. We'd like to thank Aldi's. Without Aldi's, we would have been in serious trouble. They donated a lot of toys for us. Batavia High School football team and their coaches. Batavia Youth Baseball. Rutolo Middle School. J.B. Nelson Elementary School. The H.G. Storm Elementary School. Batavia Public Library. The Batavia Fire Department, both the west side and the east side. Geneva High School, Janet Meeks, and the on-the-job training students. The Batavia Park District, Kevin and the city workers, Debbie Conan, Mayor Shelkey, Flynn Scientific, American Business Women's Association, Dottie and Mike Fletcher, Jeanette and Lucy from the mayor's office, Matt Novak, BFC, Geneva High School speech team, Calvary Episcopal Church, K Distributors, Batavia Chamber of Commerce, Batavia Baseball Team, Batavia Mothers Club, Hooverwood Elementary School, Louise White Elementary School, Alice Gustafson Elementary School, Batavia Police Department, Batavia Park District, Julie Brooks, Janet Dieter, the City Council, Marcia Taylor, Diane Anderson of Baird and Warner, the Fox Valley Woodworkers, Holy Cross Catholic Church, Five Star Learning Ranch,
Sergeant Tom Hinnerlong from the Aurora Police Department, Batavia Main Street, Funway, Bethany Lutheran Church, Pal Joey's, the Batavia Moose, Stephen and Elizabeth Bailey, Dan and Michelle Hilliard, Matt and Lori Holm, Coach Dennis Piron, and Diane Kinney. These are all people and businesses that helped us out, whether it be donating toys or coming down and helping us out with putting the stuff together or sorting toys or cleaning toys or whatever we needed. These people stepped up and helped us out, and we greatly appreciate it. And last but not least, we'd like to thank all the people that live in the city of Batavia that stepped forward and helped us out, because without their help, we were in serious trouble and we would not have been able to do what we did this year. And I'll turn it back over to Roy. Thank you very much.
It's snowing outside, so I'm gonna move along here. It started
When I came in.
that Monday. I was here last. BATV sent out a message to the citizens of Batavia, and they said, bring a toy to the basketball game for the Batavia Access Toys. They're in trouble. That Friday night, we had a box full of toys, and the Saturday night, there was another box full of toys. Just from BATV making an announcement to the city that we needed toys. I got a call the next morning from the coaches, and they said, Bailey, can you meet me up at the church? I got a few toys for you. Oh, okay. He says, well, just stop by. We've got a few toys. I pulled in to the church, and they didn't have a few toys for me. They had 400 toys that they had collected. This word kind of got around to the other students at the high school, and they go, we can top the football team and the baseball team, coach. You know what they bought in? Another 200 toys. 600 toys from high school were delivered to the church. I was here picking up some checks and some gift cards here in the police department, and a phone call came in. The radio operator says, I got an emergency call to the homestead. We need a police officer there right away. She said, but it's kind of a unique call. She says, it's a senior citizen who says she doesn't drive. She can't get a cab, but she's got to take care of some kids with some toys. Can you send a police officer to the homestead to pick up some cash so Batavia children have a Merry Christmas? And shortly after that, we were working the toys at the church. When a knock on the door came, there was a 6-year-old child standing there with her mother. And she says, are you Mr. Bailey? I said, yes, ma'am, I am. She says, you know what, today's my birthday. I said, well, happy birthday. She goes, well, that's really not the reason I'm here. She goes, I had a big party. I got a lot of toys. She said, you know what? I don't need those toys. Your Batavia children need those toys. Can you come out to my car and take these toys so somebody will have a Merry Christmas? 6-year-old girl. 5 days before we were to have the giving away of the toys, I got a call from the Batavia Women's Business here in Batavia. Said we're going to have a banquet out at the country club. There's a check for $400. And she said along with that check, there's a bag of gift cards to make sure that the teens have a Merry Christmas. Alderman Brown has been trying to put this in the ATM machine, but it ain't working too well. No, they really gave me cash. Unbelievable that all of these organization stepped up and made another year a Merry Christmas. What did it look like? Let's show a few of the slides here. This is our
Reception committee.
Fire department is here. We're here on that day that we're there to support us and to support the people, getting toys out and just being a part of the community. Here's one room. We have 4 rooms. In this room here, we have puzzles, games. In this room here, there's 700 puzzles. There's 700 games. There's probably 1,100 to 1,200 books that were donated just for this room. Next slide. Wow. What does that room say? From nothing on those tables on that Monday to the tables that look like this on that Sunday. Alderman Brown, I think, asked me, he says, how much do you think this room is worth in retail? I said, well, I've been in retail for almost 40 years. And taking a look at the price of some of the toys, I would say in the 4 rooms, Batavia citizens have given us almost $70,000 in retail. Unbelievable. Next slide. Another part of that room, table after table, plus floor, to take care of those children here at the table. Next slide. Next room, as you can see here, how many toys were out there from table to table. Wow. 700 gloves and hats on this back wall to take care of every child in the table. Every child went with a large toy, a small toy, hats, mittens, gloves, games, books, and there was even a mother's room this year. There was a lot of items were given to us by the homeless. Again, another room, another of the toys. Unbelievable. Here's the group that really stood behind us and helped us to make this year, this presentation for Batavia, another successful year. From the high school in the back, the Mothers Club in the front, the aldermen to the chief of police and the mayor. I really can't thank you all for what you've done here to make this another successful year. We had a meeting with the group late this week, as all businesses do, what you did good, what you did bad, what you learned from this year. But you won't make those mistakes next year. What's going to make next year even better than the year that we just completed? There was many things that we talked about at that meeting. I only had one thing on my list. Trust in Batavia citizens. I'll never lose the trust in Batavia citizens. I think I got a little nervous at some point in time, but all I need to do is to come here or meet them on the street, any citizen in Batavia, whether it be a child, a student, an elderly person, all I need to do is tell them that they need your help. Thank you again, Batavia, for supporting us again this year to make this another successful year. I think we made over 600 children here in Batavia have a Merry Christmas, and over 300 families we took care of. So again, thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, on behalf of the community, thank you. You really, I think, rose to the occasion this year under your leadership, and you and Rudy, I think, deserve our applause and praise. So I ask you to join with me in a round of applause for Roy. That's a great example of why we come down here and do this job for what we do it for, because there's some really nice things that happen in this town over the course of the year, and that certainly is one of them. So I appreciate all the things government gets involved with, but that certainly, I think, speaks to the occasion of how you can really do some good stuff. And several of you, as he said, I know were there with us on the day of distribution, and were there at the beginning and stayed to the end, and it was nice that we had this great support of the city government, and it really did work out quite well. So I'm very pleased how it all came together, and there were several people who were the recipients have talked to me since then and told me that had this not been there, that would have been a pretty doom and gloom day on December 25th at their apartment or house or wherever it is they live. But this made all the difference and really did rise to the occasion. And as Roy is aware, we had a couple other situations brought to our attention subsequent to the distribution of some other people who had been hit with some really bad health issues and whatever have you, and we were able to step up and help them too with some of the stuff we had gathered. So we really stretched this out and really did make some very positive efforts on behalf of the Batavia community. So makes you very pleased to live in this town when you see stuff like that. Okay, going back to the agenda, item number 9, which is approval of a Class F liquor license for Batavia Main Street for February 12, 2015 for their Celebrate Success event. Do I have, Alderman Stark, do you have this one?
I do. This, as you said, Your Honor, is a Class F liquor license for Batavia Main Street for February 12th. It's a one-day liquor license. They have been, an updated investigation background check has been performed, and there has been nothing that would impede them from having a liquor license. They've also asked that the liquor license fee be waived. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the liquor license application for Batavia Main Street for a special event to celebrate success, volunteer and partner appreciation event at Interiors for Business on Thursday, February 12th. And waive the fee.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Stark, second by Alderman Chanzit for the approval of the Class F liquor license for Batavia Water Street from,
February 12th.
Batavia Main Street for February 12th, 2015 Celebrate Success event. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Stark.
Aye.
Chanzit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Homan.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Vasilian.
Aye.
Saron.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown. Clark. Atak.
Aye.
Motion's approved, 14 yes, no no's, none absent. Moving to item number 10, which is approval of another Class F liquor license for Water Street Studios for January 24th and March 20th events. Alderman Stark?
I have these also, Your Honor. This is, again, these are liquor license, this time for the Batavia Artists Association, NFP Inc. at Water Street Studios. These are 2 gallery opening / fundraiser events. One is taking place on Saturday, January 24th, 2015, and the other is Friday, March 20th, 2015. And the police department has updated their investigation and background check and have found nothing that would preclude Water Street Studios from having a liquor license for these 2 one-day events. So I'd like to make a motion that we grant a liquor license application for Batavia Artists Association, NFP Inc. at Water Street Studios for gallery opening fundraiser events on Saturday, January 24th, 2015, and Friday, March 20th, 2015, and waive the fees.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Stark, second by Alderman Chanzit for the approval of the Class F license for the Water Street Studios for January 24th and March 20th. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Stark.
Aye.
Chanzit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Homan.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Vasilian.
Aye.
Saron.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Clark. Atak.
Aye.
Motion's approved, 14 yes, no no's, none absent. Moving to item number 11, which is approval of authorization to conduct public hearing on land exchange with Dale and Melinda Rudy for February 2nd, 2015 City Council meeting. Alderman Brown, do you have this one?
I do, Your Honor, thank you. Back in February, staff came to the committee of a whole and discussed with us the opportunity to do some land swapping at the area of the 921 Carlisle Road address. As you're all aware, that there's an area there on Hoover Road and Carlisle Road that some of it was not platted maybe correctly back many years ago, and there's an opportunity here to straighten all that out by doing it through a land swap with the Rudies. They have been in conversation with the Rudies about this. They're in agreement that this would work out well for both parties, the city and the Rudies themselves. It would straighten out kind of a hodgepodge of what we have going on over there. So the action tonight would be just for the authorization to conduct a public hearing, at which time then staff would probably put up on the screen the plats of what areas we're talking about and open it up for a public hearing for anyone that has anything they want to say about it, comments on it. And then I think it's the intent of Scott to have the ordinance written up for that meeting also, so if the public hearing goes through successfully and we want to vote on it that night, we can do so. It will require a 2/3 majority vote tonight and the night of the public hearing to do it. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. You've all got the memo, and I believe the majority of you were all at the meeting when we discussed it. But I would move for the approval of the authorization to conduct a public hearing for the purpose of land swap with Dale and Melinda Rudy for the property along Hoover Road and Carlisle Road.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Brown, second by Alderman Atek for the approval of to conduct the public hearing on the land swap for February 2nd, 2015. Any discussion? Alderman Basilian?
Yeah, I have no problem with the land swap or anything. I was just curious, why does this require a 2/3 vote for this type of instance?
It's actually 3/4.
Or 3/4? Yeah.
It's 3/4 and it's under statute. It requires 3/4 to actually to authorize the public hearing, and it also requires another 3/4 vote to actually authorize the exchange. It's just the statute.
Is that a local statute or
No,
state
state statute.
State statute. Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention to make sure, because I know we had talked about this when we originally brought this up, that we will be sharing the costs on the title and the plats and surveys and everything on it. So it's a shared cost. So basically, it's an equal benefit for both them and for us.
That's correct.
Yeah, I suppose, we can get into it more at the public hearing, but, one of the reasons for this is currently there's some public sidewalk on a piece of property that is not public right-of-way. So we're trying to straighten out this right-of-way line and the properties there to make everything so that the public sidewalk is on the public right-of-way.
Any other discussion on that one? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown.
Aye.
Clark. Atak.
Aye.
Stark.
Aye.
Transit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Homan.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Vasilian.
Aye.
Saron.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Motion's approved, 14 yes, no nos, none absent. Moving to item number 12, which is labeled as a discussion entitled, "How Are We Doing?" And this is a result of some of the JCOW conversations we've had over the last few months, where it was suggested that every couple months, the city council ought to have an item on the agenda where we can allow the members of the council to interject any thoughts or ideas or concerns that they may have about life in general here at the city government. And so we just thought to kind of jumpstart this thing and get it going, we'd throw this on the agenda tonight and let anybody that had anything they wanted to have us start cogitating about, throw it out there, and, we will begin to run some stuff through the process. Anybody care to start, or?
Sure.
Alderman Vasilian.
I know that in a couple of our previous JCOW meetings, Alderman Clark had mentioned that in the past, the council had been going through some of the city codes and updating them, and we hadn't done that for a while. So I was hoping that that would be something that we can start scheduling on our agenda to get some of those things up to date.
That's basically the governance committee that we used to have.
And it's on tomorrow night's agenda. There's some code changes on tomorrow night's agenda.
Are we reactivating that, or just kind of?
It's one of those things that as there's been time, government services, staff comes, to the JCOW and says, here's some code that we think needs updating sooner rather than later. And so that's kind of how it's been going. It's been obviously a very packed year. I would like to say that we had some downtime this year, but between Walgreens and all of the other things that went on through City Council, there wasn't a lot of time to do housekeeping, so it will appear on the agenda. The code is long and arduous, and I think some things like the Sentinel, that's not the right word, lamplighter, have finally gone away. And taxi cabs are now fall under code. So those are things that have come up over the last 4 years, but there are other things that just need revision as it goes.
I have something. I've brought this up before. I would like to see us, and I think we're working towards this, develop an action plan for our strategic plan, and so that we can kind of monitor how we're progressing in our strategic plan. So, and what items go on the agenda, and see how they connect to our strategic goals and our action plan. So I think that's something we're working on, and would like to see us move ahead with that. Maybe this is the time where we discuss when we can move ahead with it.
One of the things I wanted to bring up is that obviously, as we all are aware, our city administrator has served us with notice that he is intending to retire the middle part of next year. And so one of the things that falls not to the city staff, unlike all other employment activities that seem to take place here, but this is the city administrator, so the group that has to put that process together and get this on the street and get interviews going is the 14 of you and myself. We're the ones, this is our job. This is something we are going to have. We can't hand this off to a staff person and say, us do this. So I am taking the initiative here, and as far as trying to put some stuff together to give you to review as to how we can do this. And there's several different ways in talking with other cities who have recently gone through this process, how you do it. There is different ways you can advertise, you can, there's firms you could hire that would come in and bring candidates with them, and they would pre-screen candidates and kind of only supposedly bring us the best. I mean, there's a lot of different ideas that I will be bringing here to you in the next few months, but as I've told you already in the preliminary discussion we have upon this, my thoughts and hopes are that we can kind of get through all the fluff and the kind of the basics of this process of how we're going to do it and get that all kind of figured out here by the end of the spring, let's say, and then get the actual maybe interview and review process begun late summer, early fall of next year, with the idea that, sometime before this year is up, we will be in a position of hiring a new person who will be Mr. McGrath's replacement. And that will then give us the luxury of hiring that person, bringing them on board. Hopefully by this time next year, that person will be here with us. And then there'll be like a 6-month transition period where that person can work with Mr. McGrath and kind of learn all the essentials of what's going on and who everybody is and all the neighboring city administrators and managers and there's a lot to learn here. I mean, just the utility bank of this whole thing, of the water, sewer, and electric issues, and then all the other stuff that goes along with it. This is not here it is, 2 weeks later, you're going to know it all. I mean, this is going to take some time. So my thought is that by this time next year, we'll have the new person in line here, and they will work in tandem with Mr. McGrath for about a 6-month transition period, so that when he's ready to leave in the summer of 16, that it should be a very easy transition. So we're going to be starting to develop some activities and documents and whatever that I'll be sharing with the 14 of you as we go forward to kind of start this whole process. And as I say, there's nobody else that should or could be doing this. It has to be you and myself. We have to be the ones that run this thing and make sure that it's handled in the best interest, and this is what really gives the 14 elected members of the city council some real skin in the game as far as you get to make you do the interviews and make the decisions as to who this person's going to be. And as I think all of you realize, the city administrator is a real key person in this organization as far as day-to-day operations and visions and viewpoints and relationships with the public and setting city policies and carrying out city policies and everything that goes along with it. So it's not something you want to take too lighthearted. We want to make sure we do this a thorough and the right way. And, you know, I think there's probably some pretty qualified candidates that are in the mix out there that we'll be able to bring in here and let you see. And, you know, that collectively you will make that decision as to who we're going to hire. So this will be, of all the things, you know, how are we doing? This will be one of the big ones we'll be doing this year, and this will be probably one of the biggest challenges you may face during your entire tenure as a member of the city government is how we go about doing this process. And so I'm excited about it. I think it's a real opportunity for us to kind of do something and hopefully do it right and give Batavia some leadership that will really take us, you know, into the next generation of city management and way about going about doing things. So this could be a real exciting time. Mr. Chancellor.
Did you envision like a subcommittee, or were you looking to hand this off to JCOW to handle?
I don't know how you subcommittee this, because I think if I read each one of you sitting here, each one of you would be very interested to have your say and your viewpoint taken in this whole process. So I think we're going to have to do this as a group exercise. If everybody's agreeable to that, I think that's the only way. You know, it may be a test of us all to see how we do it, but I would suggest that it could be the best way to do it. So,
on that note, can I recommend we do a retreat then?
what? It's maybe part of the process.
Thank you.
Alderman Stark?
I just wanted to point out, because when we talk about things like, you know, reviewing our code or working on where we are in terms of strategic plan and how we're working towards, you know, how are we working towards that, I see those are pressing, but the pressing issues in front of us right now are getting key staff members back in place. And so I would like to see, you know, the positions filled and people, you know, like all of the chairs fully staffed. When I was saying goodbye to Noel last Friday, I realized what a gaping hole we now have in the engineering department and how we need a qualified person to be able to step into his place, and all of that takes time. And so, you know, the code changes, while they're very important, there are a lot of bodies that we need in place to fill the jobs to keep the city running on a day-to-day basis. So while I'd like to see all the details cleaned up, there are other things I think that are so much more important. So.
Speaking of which, have we placed the ad for the HR person yet? Do you know?
Yes. Yeah, I believe we have.
Great.
And Alderman Stark, going to your point about it having been a busy year, I know I left this year exhausted. So I went back and looked at some of the statistics. We did 40 more ordinances and resolutions this year than we did last year. In 2010, we had a total of 132 ordinance and resolutions passed by this body. In 2014, it was 238. That's an increase of 80%. And each of those required us reading them, staff preparing us reading them, and just a lot of work for each one of those. So just the general workload has increased incredibly.
And the body count has gone down. I don't mean body, you know what I mean.
Yes,
the
I know
employee
what you
count
mean.
has gone down.
Yes, the number of people doing that work has increased. It's amazing that so much is still getting done.
All right. I think that was a worthwhile exercise for a few minutes of kind of brainstorming here among us. And do you think it's a good idea we keep this as kind of on the agenda every couple of meetings? We'll put this on and let us have a freewheeling discussion on whatever's in our face at the moment, or direction-wise where we want to go.
just put some kind of timeline on, especially developing the action plans for our strategic plan. To be able to say, okay, at 6 months, we want to have this thing accomplished, and in a year, we want to have these 3 things accomplished. I mean, I think if we don't, we're not going to hold ourselves accountable for it, and we're not going to get anything done.
I'd also like to, as part of that, have an analysis of what are we doing and is it working along the lines of the incentives that we offer or the different programs that we have an accounting to see if they're actually working and doing as intended. Are they meeting the goals? And I think along the line of what you're saying, we're setting the goals and we're measuring them. We got there, but we also ought to figure out a way to measure that to go, did it do what we wanted it to do? So.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, then let's move on to committee reports. Community Development, Alderman Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, wait a minute, excuse me. Administrator's report, Mr. McGrath, I'm sorry.
First of all, we wanted to make sure everyone in the community is really careful over the next couple of days because of the storm that's currently coming in. Everybody seems to be changing their minds about how serious it's going to be, but we want everybody to be careful. The amount of property damage, accidents we have is astounding, and it's mainly people losing control of their cars in the ice and snow. I want to remind everybody that we do have an ordinance that bans parking from any city streets when snow reaches 2 inches in depth until the street is plowed. And we also would like to remind people to shovel the residential neighborhoods for the school kids, particularly corners. There's absolutely no way that the city has the capacity or the kind of manpower that can clear each and every sidewalk as it hits the corners. The very nature of the snow plows makes it very difficult, and I know it's a hardship for some of the kids to use those sidewalks. So we just ask everybody needs to pitch in and do what they can do. Our truck drivers do what they can do, but it is it's very, very difficult. The more snow there is, as I said, it's impossible to just leave some of these sidewalks unblocked. So we really think it's got to be up to the neighborhoods to take some of that responsibility. The 2015 street program is moving along. They've identified the streets. There'll be something coming to JCOW in the next couple of weeks, I believe. Gary Holm told me today. We are wanting to get that out to bid very early this year. I'll have some details, maybe even tomorrow night about that. But it's a more simplified program because of the nature of the grant that we have from the state of Illinois. We are going to get it out to bid early so we can get some good prices. As Alderman Vasilian inquired, the ads for both department head positions, being in the city and at least the human resources department head position is out. The deadline is near the end of January. The city engineer / assistant director of public works. Some of the ads were placed today. The balance will be placed tomorrow. The deadline for that, for reception of resumes, is the first week of February. We intend to be having interviews in February on both of those jobs. Tomorrow night, we are on the agenda is a proposal to work out an incentive for the construction of a new manufacturing facility here in town, and that's going to be in cooperation with the Geneva School District, which we have never done before in terms of a property tax rebate. So that we're pleased to see that that's moving along, and we'll have more details on that tomorrow. That's really all I have. Those Alderman Stark said there's a municipal code change that's on the agenda tomorrow. If you noted your proposed agendas, it's on the next couple of JCALs. We're going to be moving through the section of the code that the committee took a look at before there was a council change, and I think it's going to make more sense to go through it piece by piece. So we'll be doing that over the next couple of months. Regarding the strategic plan, we've also been assembling a kind of a list as to what we see, some policy decisions that you may be making over the next year, you probably make. I think it'd just be interesting for you to take a look at some of these, as well as we've been outlining just a set of what we see our tasks being, as opposed to a pure action plan, but we do have, we'll be working on the action plan as well, and we'll have that certainly well before any kind of 6 months. So that's really all I have.
Any questions of the administrator this evening? Alderman McKellen?
Bill, I just had a question about, I was reading an article, you mentioned about the incentives, and I was reading an article about the Governmental Accounting Standards Board and some of the possible rulemaking that might be coming in around January 30th, where they're talking about implementing rules to count tax incentives as lost revenue on our budgets. Do you know anything about that? I was going to ask Peggy since you were.
Usually Peggy does in her bailiwick, but we can check in with and get back to the council as a whole.
Okay, because I know that since it was talking about tomorrow, it was saying that it was going to require some local municipalities. So I didn't know what the impact, if we even knew about it.
It's not near being passed. It was probably just at the comment period right now.
Okay, all right.
So,
Yeah, and that's where I was unclear. It was the first I had heard about it, and they were talking about January 30th being the comment period, so I didn't know how long it goes from there
it really
to the
would
rules.
represent just an accounting entry. It'd be something on paper as recognizing it as, rather than property tax if you lost revenue.
It'll be a difficult one. I don't know how you, I know kind of what they're going for. I don't know how you capture, say, the thing that you would put on the other side of the balance sheet, such as bringing in 125 new jobs. It's tough to quantify.
Right, because the other side of the argument is it's an investment, not.
Exactly. So I'm
Right.
sure, basically, usually they put out these announcements, and it could take a year, 18 months, or 2 years to
Okay.
really have a discussion, but we'll look into it and keep you abreast of it.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments or questions? Thanks, Bill. Committee reports, Alderman Brown, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. We do have a council meeting set for tomorrow night. On the CDC agenda is Resolution 15-04-R, authorizing application for Kane County 2015 Community Development Block Grant for East Wilson Street sidewalk. Also, we're going to have the discussion on the possible annexation of 621 Pine Street for utility connections requirements. And then the community development quarterly report. This is something new that Scott and his department are putting together, so that's, I hope everybody's had a chance to read through that. It's quite informative. Then we also always have streetscape in case there's anything to discuss on streetscape. Then on Wednesday at 7:30, Plan Commission is scheduled to meet. And Monday, January 12th, Historic Preservation is scheduled to meet at 5:30, and that's all I have, Your Honor. You know, I did want to make one comment, though, if I could. I had an opportunity, I got the Batavia magazine over the weekend that we all get in the mail now, and I have to say that I think that is probably one of the best investments we've ever made. That is just a very informative, this particular writing, or whatever you want to call it, this particular one that came out is very informative, and I hope everybody in the city of Batavia takes advantage of that and reads it, because it says everything in there you need to know. It's very well done.
Yeah, I get the impression that a lot of people do read that. I mean, I get a lot of questions, and people make observations to me about what they've read in that, so.
Yeah.
On all fronts, the city, the park, the school,
It's
the
everything in there. It's
library, the chamber, everybody, so. Public utilities, Alderman Clark?
Looking at the calendar, there's nothing in regards to public utilities for the next couple meetings, so I have nothing to report.
Government services, Alderman Stark?
Tomorrow night at the JCOW, we will be discussing amending the municipal code regarding certain city officers. We will also be discussing the proposed property tax-based economic development incentives and the Moody's rating review. And then on January 13th, we will further be discussing code changes and the website and branding. And that's all I've got for the next 2 weeks.
City Services, Alderman Wolf.
Thank you, Your Honor. The only thing City Services has on the agenda for tomorrow night is a resolution for the for the Safe Routes to School crossings, including the beacons. And that's all we have on there. I would like to remind everybody that the next 2 weeks are the pickups for Christmas trees, so if you want to get it over and done with and get it out of the house, remember this week and next week.
Okay.
And I just want to clarify, I have an email that says the Plan Commission meeting for this Wednesday was canceled. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, that is correct.
was
So the
canceled?
Plan
Okay.
Commission was canceled.
Okay, other business? Do anybody in the council have any other business? Under other business, I have just, I'm going to do a little thing under the mayor's report, but under other business, I just want to pay a compliment to our city clerk. She really rose to the occasion during this most recent election filing period. There was several different quandaries that she got thrown upon her that were not anything to do with her, but were complications in the system, and she worked her way through them very admirably and professionally, and I just wanted to publicly acknowledge what I thought she did was an excellent job in dealing with some stuff that was kind of above and beyond what I think her pay grade was. But, I mean, she really did rise to the occasion and talk with me, and I believe the city attorney and others, and trying to make sure that whatever we were doing here was the right thing to do. And as you know, I know a lot of other mayors in the region, and I've heard some real horror stories in the last few days about some other towns that have had some really unique election filing activities take place, and we avoided all those types of things in Batavia, and I just want to give a lot of the credit where it's due, and that's to the city clerk and her due diligence in making sure that everything was put together in the right way, shape, form, fashion, and whatever. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, on the mayor's report tonight, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I got a thing I'm going to show you. I promise you it won't be very long. I think it's only like 6 or 7 slides, but I want to, maybe, Scott, can you turn the lights off here in the front of the room? I think these will show. I'm going to steal a page from Jay Leno and say this is, we're going to call this ideas and how other people play the game. As you know, I travel around the country a little bit, and I have the opportunity to see and talk to a lot of different folks. And some of my most recent travels, as you can see here, one of the places I stopped was in Batavia, New York. And Batavia, New York had been to Batavia, Illinois last year or two. We've had a couple of visits from some of their city officials who stopped in to see me specifically. And so I returned the favor to them. I don't know if it was a favor, but I stopped in to see what they were doing. And they've got some unique things in Batavia, New York. Perhaps one of the more unique things they have is that they have a town and they have a township. And when you're in the city or in the town of Batavia, the city of Batavia, New York, you can't annex into the township without the township permission to do so. And so in Batavia, New York, it would be the equivalent of Batavia, Illinois, that the city of Batavia say that our city limits would stop at Van Noordtreek and West Wilson Street, and everything west of that point would be in the township. And so this is actually what's happened in Batavia, New York. I believe one of their high schools is now outside the city limits, and their big commercial area, i.e. Orlando Road, is out in the township. And so the city doesn't get any of the money from it. And so they've had to do some interesting things to try to identify where they are and where they aren't as far as governance go. And so the city of Batavia, New York has erected signs in some very unique places. And one of the places that they erected this particular sign, which was where their city limits start, is right where all the commercial activity starts, going in the opposite direction. And so, as a result of it, they have this sign up. But I thought this sign, in the case of our town, is kind of unique in the fact that, you know, home of New York State champions, and they had a high school football champion in 1991, and they had a basketball championship in 92 and 2001, and then their girls basketball won in 1999. Well, in Batavia, Illinois, we've had a high school basketball championship in 1912, and we've had a high school football championship in 2013. And I suppose if we want to, we could throw the Moose Heart sign on there. So we've had 2 Batavia high schools. We've had 2 high schools in the community win the state basketball championship. And I would suggest to you that one of the things I would think maybe we should do at some point in time is erect something of a sign kind of like this and call it a point of pride. And there's a lot of different points of pride in this town of different things that have historically happened here that we could throw up, that a lot of people would come in and see, geez, we won 2 state basketball championships and 1 football championship. There aren't many towns around here that can make that claim. Not that I want to boast too much, but I mean that's just the types of unique types of things that a lot of people come into and resonate to when they see that you've got those types of activities. We've got a couple signs up on the city limits that say we did win the state football championship a couple years ago, but this is one where Batavia, New York takes the whole history of their town and clusters it all on one sign. And I just think it's kind of an interesting idea. So I'll let you know where I'm going with this in just a minute. Next picture. This is another picture I took in Batavia, New York, and this is on the front of a restaurant. But I like this particular picture because it's got this huge mural of an American flag on it. And I thought it was interesting to find this in Batavia, New York, because quite honestly, where we need to have a mural of the American flag is in Batavia, Illinois. Because in June 14th of 1916, which was the first official date that American Flag Day was proclaimed by Woodrow Wilson when he was President of the United States, the leader of that movement was Dr. Bernard Sagrand, who at that point in time lived in Batavia, Illinois. And so next year, in 2016, is going to be the 100th anniversary of American Flag Day. And I guess I'm of the opinion that Batavia, Illinois needs to do something on a grand scale because basically we were the place where, we were the home of where that was kind of created, was right here. Nobody else can grab that one and run with it. And so I've got some ideas for putting up some flag displays at some point in town, but I think we should probably pursue this with some degree of enthusiasm, that this is something that as a community we should be doing, because we've got some very unique, beyond the fact that the guy who founded Flag Day was the resident of our town here in 1916 when it was done. We've had some other encounters with the American flag that historically can be traced back to this town, that we can put together a American flag display that will be, nobody else again can touch what Batavia, Illinois can do with the American flag. So let's go on to the next slide. This is on the main street in downtown Canandaigua, New York, and this is a bicycle rack. And I just think it's a unique type of a bike, and I wish some of the guys had been parking their bikes there. When I saw them, I didn't have my camera, but I went back and took a picture of the bike rack. But there's all kinds of different ways you can park your bike using this particular design. And you can put your wheels over the front tire, you can put your wheels over the back tire, you can insert them in that center loop there, you can connect them with a padlock. But it's a cute idea for a bike rack, and again, it's an interesting idea that somebody out in upstate New York came up with for designing a bike rack. But that's an idea I think maybe we should try to steal and put on our own street, because we do have a lot of people riding bicycles here now, and they're trying to find ways to park their bikes. And these are a very interesting way to do it with using these bicycle designed bike racks. Next slide. This is in downtown Newark, New York, and this is the Erie Canal. And the Erie Canal, like the Fox River, runs right through the middle of this old town, downtown. And this town's a little bit older than Batavia, Illinois. It goes back to about 1812, in the War of 1812. And then this is down south of, between Rochester and Syracuse in upstate New York. And this was one of the real high points of the Erie Canal. It was opened in 1825. And the interesting thing about it today, and I took a number of pictures here because there was a lot of ideas here. And I gave some to Alderman Atak's son is wanting to do an Eagle Scout project, and he's got some ideas from me that I think he's going to do, he tells me. So we're kind of excited about that. But the thing I want to point out here is that look at this river frontage in this downtown. This is a very similar downtown to our own, as far as the number of commercial stores, the style, they're all old buildings, and look how clean that riverfront is. I mean, there's not a weed or a pop can or any litter, no dead trees, no nothing. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is our own Riverwalk in downtown Batavia, and this is a problem we are now having with the Riverwalk. As you can see, we have these dead trees that are sprouting out all over the place. And for whatever reason, I don't know, we don't want to cut the trees down after they die. We let them sit there and sit there and sit there. So sooner or later, Mother Nature comes along. And let's go to the next slide. This is that tree now, if you go out there, it's down on the ground. And so we've got our riverfront. I'm kind of ashamed of it at the moment, specifically in the downtown area, because there's so much that is lack of maintenance that we really need to get in and get all these dead trees out of the river. And if you look at the quality downtowns, and I would suggest you have to go no further than the city of Naperville to the east of it, where they have a river walk that's very, very similar to ours. They had theirs first, we stole the idea from them, built ours. And one of the things that Naperville does is that the river walk as it goes through downtown Naperville is pristine clean. They don't have a bunch of dead trees laying in the river and anything else. It's all, anything that dies there, they take it down right away, keep the river walk very clean. And if you look at the high quality of the business that's now moved into their downtown, and you ask a lot of those business people, why are you here? They comment about, you know, the feature of the Riverwalk and the nice amenity that brings to their downtown. But in our town, we've got the Riverwalk built, but we're a little bit behind the eight ball here as far as maintaining it. So I'm going to be asking the Park District for a meeting to talk about how we're going to work with them to get all these dead trees that we now have laying along the riverbank here cleaned up. In this last few weeks here, we've picked up 2 or 3 more that have just decided to drop themselves into the Fox River, and it looks very unsightly. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is on the other side of the river. This is the old Challenge factory on North River Street. And we have these pylons in the middle of the river here, and I don't have an answer for these pylons, but what these pylons are is these were the foundations for a building structure that sat up here above it, sat on top of these pylons, and it was used by the Challenge when it was in its height of operation at the turn of the last century. In many instances before electricity was invented, they used the river to run various processes in the plant, and they dropped their wheels or whatever, grinding materials or whatever they were using, and they dropped the devices into the river, and then the water turned the wheels and the grinders and whatever, and then they were all in the building that used to sit on top of it. Well, the building burned down here about 25 years ago on Friday night. It was a pretty dramatic fire. It was all wood frame, and it was gone in about, it was kind of a self-destruct deal. It was all gone in about 25 minutes. And so now we just have the pylons, which are kind of an interesting historical object in the middle of the river, but they really don't serve any purpose. But I don't have an answer for you right now as to what to do with them, because as I say in my column in the Neighbors Magazine this month, the state of Illinois is flat broke And anybody that thinks that they're gonna walk into Batavia and fix the dam problems or any issues with the river right now, I think we're sadly mistaken, because they just don't have the money to do it. But the one thing you have to appreciate is that because they had all this factory over here on this east bank of the river, and they had all these grinding wheels and whatever that used to be above this in this building that's now gone. When they built the dam, early part of last century, they put all the depth of the water on the east bank of the river above the dam. And so the deepest part of the Fox River in Batavia is the area immediately on the east bank of the river above the dam. Now, if you go to the dam today, you'll see that that's where the dam is already washed out, because there's so much pressure on that part of the dam, because the water level is constantly there. It's real deep there, so all the water of the river has a natural inclination to flow over to the east side of the river. And that's why the dam's basically been breached at that location, because all the water was diverted to go underneath these buildings here and run all these wheels. And so that's a little history lesson for you. Well, let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is a very interesting slide. This was taken in about 1974 by Bill Hamilton, who for many years was a member of this body, sat on the city council representing the 3rd Ward, and he was an engineer by profession. And when he was on the city council, Alderman Brown's father was the mayor of Batavia between 1969 and 1977. And in about 1975, here's the Challenge Dam that I'm talking about. We had the first major break of the Challenge Dam. And right here on the east bank is where this real deep channel is, and this is right here is where the real pressure is on the dam. It's right there. And so the dam broke in 1975, and basically it drained the Fox River north of the dam. And so Mayor Brown asked Alderman Hamilton, who was an amateur photographer, if he would get in the helicopter that we used to spray for mosquitoes and go up and take some pictures of what the breach in the river looked like from the air. So Alderman Hamilton went up in the air and he took this particular picture. And just to point a few things out to you right here, here's the break in the dam. Here's the original dam that's still there today. And here's the original dam that was built sometime in the 1880s up here that's just above the existing dam. So in Batavia, to this day, that second structure is still there. There are 2 dams in the Fox River, one right behind the other, up on the north end of the area. Here's Duck Island, which is but here's Duck Island greatly enlarged when the dam broke and it started draining the river. And then here is the Depot Pond area, which was basically this was a mud flat basically when Alderman Hamilton took this. And you can see right here, here's a reclaiming of the Fox River that runs from where now the Riverwalk elevated structures are, where the gazebo and all that is. That was all drained out, and so there was a mud flat that ran here to what is now the back end of the Waterford apartment complexes. Eventually, the state of Illinois came in and fixed just this break right here. They put a bunch of large boulders back here and got the dam refunctioning again, and that's what's there today. And as long as the Fox River levels stay up, the dam does seemingly work. But my concern would be, and this may be, maybe all of us will be long gone from the councils when this happens, that eventually this is going to break. There's going to be a bad break here, and when this thing really breaks, we're going to drain the Depot Pond totally, and you will drain much of this area up here. The Fox River will come out we know from this experience, from the west bank out into about the middle of the river. This will all go into weed and whatever, and the actual water will be over here on the east side by the boat club and the east bank of the river, and these people on the west won't have any water behind them there for a while. You can see here's the Fabian Parkway Bridge up here, and this is the area I'm talking about where the real change will take place in the river, because without this dam or some type of a structure here, this won't be here in the way it is. So I guess what I'm going to suggest tonight is, we've talked for a long time about different things, and I think tonight, starting with access, which is that runs the toy drive, we've got some activities here in town right now that we run with the Access Committee, and basically there's two. One's the 4th of July fireworks, and the other is the toy drive. And I'm going to put out a call here in the next few weeks, and I'm going to ask if we have any citizens who would like to volunteer to get involved in the Batavia community, and we're going to try to repopulate, I guess I would describe, the Access Committee, and hopefully give the people on the toy drive a few extra volunteer hands. The fireworks people could use a few extra volunteer hands. And then, as I think hopefully I just showed you here, there's some other ideas out there about, this stuff with the American flag and these points of pride about, putting up areas to highlight some of our history and whatever have you. I could see where we have the need for, a pretty active access committee. And I guess what I'd like to do is get any of you on the city council, if you know anybody in town, or specifically constituents in your ward who you think would be good candidates for somebody that would like to get involved in hopefully what would be some productive and maybe even kind of fun-filled activities in town to do some of this stuff. And it certainly wouldn't be limited to what I'm talking about if somebody else has got some other good kind of civic-minded ideas that we could have them buy into that would, kind of redo this whole access thing. Needless to say, as I think we've shown you with the toy drive, and which we'll show you next July with the fireworks, we've got two really good functioning aspects of the Access Committee, but I think there's an opportunity here for the Access Committee to do more than just the fireworks and the toy drive. And I think working in tandem with our friends at the Park District, this whole river thing, I think, should be looked at sooner than later. And while there's right now not any money to do anything here, you talk about strategic planning, I think there should be some type of a look at what we need to do here in this river over the long haul. And there's a group that's out there now that's visiting every city that's got a dam in the Fox River, which they're giving you the pitch about why the dam should come out because of the environment and whatever have you. And so we need to get those folks in, let them meet with some of these folks. But I think there's a really urgent, necessary need in this town for a dialogue right now about what we're going to do with the river in totality through downtown Batavia beyond the dam. Then we got all these trees falling into the river, and it really detracts from everything we're doing here, trying to make the downtown real good and downtown real attractive as a community. So there's just a lot of stuff happening here that the Access Committee needs to be kind of repopulated. And so if you've got some people in mind in your ward that you could share with me some names, I'll send out some invitations. And we're probably looking sometime in February, early March, to maybe have a meeting here and invite people and try to put something together and find some leaders that will help Roy and Rudy and the folks at the Fireworks Committee and whatever have you. I just think there's a need right now in Batavia to do this, and I think this river and this dam thing need to be looked at very strategically as what we are doing. One thing before I stop here, I would like to point out, this shows the City Hall complex before a lot of things got done here. Now, I want to give credit where credit's due here. And the one that needs to be stood up, and unfortunately he's no longer with us to do it, is Mayor Robert Brown, Alderman Brown's father. He was the mayor in 1973 when the city made the very bold step about buying all this property. And they paid about $720,000 in round numbers, and they got 291,000 square feet of what was then almost abandoned building space in this area. Here's the building where our city hall is, and as many of you know, most of the rest of this was all demoed and tore down. And between the demolition costs and the costs that we spent on the building, the city, in round numbers, has spent about $3.2 million in demo. But out of that money, we've got a new police station, we got the city hall, we got the council chambers. I can imagine what we would have spent had we gone someplace else in town and built a whole new series of buildings. That would have been much more money than we spent there. And then we tore all this down. We were able to build this park. Right here on the corner of the picture shows the Depot Museum in 1974, just after it had been moved there. And we hadn't built any of the Riverwalk. We hadn't done any of this good stuff that we've done along here. And now, as all of us know, this has become kind of the focal area for all these community activities and events and art shows and races and everything else. And I mean, I will tell you, I was a newspaper reporter when this was done, working for what is today the Chronicle, and Mayor Brown took one heck of a tremendous amount of criticism for buying this property. And he bought the whole thing. He got 291,000 square feet of building and 15 acres of land went with this. And that included the area that's now the Depot Pond. That's all was privately owned. He got that, sold that after he bought it. He sold it to the Park District, and that's how we got the pond that's there today. We've got all this area that we've been able to, I think, very economically turn into a city hall and police station, which is used very, I think, centrally located in the community. And we've just done a lot of neat stuff. So I think it just shows you sometimes when public officials in this town take some bold initiatives, sometimes it works out and pays very positive things. Right here is where, this was the old channel the river ran, right here where the light is. And this is where McDonald's restaurant is now located at. This is the old body company that was tore down and redeveloped. So there was just a lot of neat things done with this particular piece of property that those who were highly critical of it in 1973 when it was done, I think today, you know, River Rain is up here. I mean, there was just a lot of stuff that's happened. So don't be afraid every now and then to take a bold initiative, because at the end of the day, as I think this picture shows, sometimes it pays off, and I think it pays off for the benefit of the taxpayer, although in 1973 you would have been hard-pressed to have told the taxpayers that this would end up being a good deal for them. But what we would have spent to do this someplace else, combined with all the utilization we get out of it and the preservation of the historically significant building, we did tear down all the rest of these buildings and put them into park space and parking lots and staging areas. We got River Rain built, and we're in a position here to probably do something creative with this whole dam situation when and if the money ever comes available for it. But in the meantime, I think that we need to have some serious conversations about it. So I've talked too much, but anyway, that's the mayor's report for this week.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I have a question. I know a lot of the properties along the river, the property owner's land ends close to the river bank, but some properties are owned out to like the midpoint of the river. Who owns those piers along the east side where the Challenge Building is? That part of the Challenge Building property? Is it part of the public?
I believe it is.
It is their land. Okay.
So that's an interesting dilemma. I don't think they really, I don't know if they want it or not. I've never gotten a clear decision. It's like, you know, there's some argument that they still may own part of the Challenge Dam because it was built by them initially to run all that water underneath those buildings to do all those processes with it. So, and we've attempted to deed that to the state on several occasions, but I don't think the state has ever accepted the deed, as I remember. So it's a work in progress. But it's something that I think the community needs to have a long-range plan about. And if we want to provide some leadership here in this town, which I think is the intention of each and every one of us sitting here, I mean, those are the types of questions we need to be asking and trying to plan for and do something about, so that at the end of the day there is. In the meantime, I think it behooves us to do what we can to make sure we maintain the banks of this river, going specifically through the downtown area where the appearances are so visible to prospective restaurants or businesses or citizens that are down here walking. I find a lot of people very proud of the downtown and the access to the river, but I mean, you know, we got all these trees laying in the middle of the river now, and it's not really a pleasant picture. We need to get all that crap out of there. All right, I've talked too long. Entertain a motion. Alderman Brown, you want to make a motion for adjournment?
I move we adjourn the city council meeting.
Second. What did you?
We had none? Okay.
Moved by Brown, second by O'Brien. Clerk, take a voice vote.
All those in favor? Aye.